Well, I just bought myself the new Starlink Mini for 519 New Zealand dollars. It was on special. Usually it seems to be like $650. So I thought I'd jump on board and grab myself the Mini. For the last 2 years, we've been using the Starlink standard, the very first generation dish. And this Starlink Mini is about half the size only, much easier to carry around. In this video, we're going to be looking at this. I'm going to show you how we set it up and if it's actually worth upgrading from our old Starlink. What are the benefits besides the small size of the Starlink Mini? It's going to be interesting for you guys if you want to have some fast internet on the road. Now, my name is Mark. Me and my wife Haitian, we are full-time travelers. We have been on the road for almost 10 years and we are working online while we travel. And for us, internet is very important. So for the first couple of years traveling, we used a 4G modem. 4G has a lot of downsides because the coverage is not everywhere, especially in some of the remote places that we like to go for our camping and fishing adventures. So ever since we switched to Starlink about 2 years ago, we were pretty happy because we had internet anywhere we go. But the Starlink standard has a few downsides. First of all, you have to run it through an inverter. The problem with that is it's using a lot of power, around 40 to 60 watt of constant power while it's running or it's providing internet, which quickly drains your battery, especially in winter when you don't have so much solar power. The other thing, it's quite bulky, so you have a big package. You got the stand, you got the dish itself, and you also got a router that you have to carry around in your caravan. So it's a big package. Now with the Starlink Mini, I hope that lots of the cons we had with the standard Starlink are like a thing of the past. Now here you can see the difference between our old Starlink with the router that was required and the big cable. Then we got our new Starlink Mini, which is like very small compared to this package. And that's all we need there. And this is compared to our previous 12 volt 4G modem. So let's set it all up and give it a try and see if it also works as good as our previous Starlink standard. Now at the moment the Starlink Mini comes only with a wall plug. In order to run that directly off our battery, we can get ourselves an adapter that plugs into the 12 volt socket, for example, and outputs 30 volts. So on the Starlink Mini here, on the back of it, where you plug it in, it says the input voltage can be anywhere between 12.5 and 48 volt. So you can feed in all these different voltages. It's got its own voltage regulator built in. It runs on 12 volts, so we can plug it directly into our batteries, which is a big bonus, right? You can actually buy a lot of 12 volt adapters and even USB-C adapters from Temu, and they are really cheap to power your Starlink Mini directly from your batteries. Then you don't have to worry about making your own adapter. But if you want to see how I made my own adapter, then make sure you watch to the end of the video. I'll show you quickly how I whipped up one adapter with some cheap parts that I had lying around. But for now, let's plug it into our inverter and see how it works. The wire here that comes with the Starlink Mini is also a lot easier to manage. Look at this, it's just only a short wire. So it's much thinner than the wire from the previous Starlink, which is quite good. Everything is much smaller and much more compact that we have here. The connectors on this are just some standard connectors, which is pretty good because we can just get those kind of plugs from J-Car, for example. I see they also got some waterproofing rubber around here, so this wall plug should be waterproof. And then we got our Starlink, and that just, oops, I'm standing on the wire already, and that just plugs in right here. The light's coming on, small indicator light. Now the Starlink Mini here comes with a little integrated flip stand, so you can just flip this out and put it on the ground, and it will be on the ground angle if you want to put it directly onto the ground. But it also comes with this pole adapter. Pull this up a little bit and move it out. So our pole adapter just slides in the same way and we can get a pole. So I might get myself a PVC pipe of that diameter, so I can actually raise the Starlink above the roof, and then I have it nice high up and free of any obstructions. If you have a look at Temu, for example, there are a ton of different adapters available that actually fit into that pole adapter, so that's pretty good if you want to have some mounting options. We don't have that yet, so I'll just leave that little flip stand on there because that's also quite handy. Let's see if we can connect it to the app. The standard Starlink has a motor in it, and you just set it up and then it will swivel around and move itself to the next suitable satellite. Since the Starlink can't rotate itself like the other one, we got an alignment option where we can then go and use our phone to align the Starlink properly. That works pretty good. It's got a little arrow there, and it's pretty intuitive to do. All right, I got it set up now. It took a little bit longer. You have to go into the app, click on activate the Mini, then it goes to the starlink.com website where you can then say you want to add it to an existing account. What got me confused is you have to actually create a new service. You can't just add it to your existing service. You have to completely create a new service. So I created a new residential service for this address here, and it charged me about $7. I'm not so sure what for, but we'll see. I have to log in later and see if I can still use both Starlinks for now, or if the other one is automatically cancelled. But yeah, that was a little bit confusing, this whole setup. We're connected to our Starlink now. Everything is looking okay. It says online. Looks like we're getting a good 180 megabits per second download. On the Starlink standard we got a lot faster, but that's not too bad. That works pretty good for us, because with this speed we can still stream and we can upload our YouTube videos for you guys as well, so pretty good. So it seems like we're getting around half the speed of the original Starlink in general. It's still enough for multiple devices streaming full HD videos, our YouTube videos for example. You get much better internet than you get with a 4G modem, guys. So if you watch a lot of stuff online, or if you work online like us and you need always a good internet speed, you can't really go past it. If you don't always have access to a lot of power, then actually the Starlink Mini, in my opinion, is a really good option now, because it only uses half the amount of power than the old big Starlink dish. So it saves a lot of battery, and it's much easier to run this in winter, for example, when we don't have so much solar power feeding into our battery. And even in summer, if you accidentally forget to switch that off in the evening, it won't drain your battery overnight, right? Because it's only using about 1 to 2 amps when it's running. Now guys, if you want to get yourself a Starlink, either mini or standard dish, make sure to check out the link in the description, because if you click on this link to order your Starlink, you actually get 1 month's free internet when you purchase through this link. It's only if you sign up for a new account. It doesn't work with an old account. That is a really good deal, guys. Alright, before I give you my final thoughts on the Starlink Mini, I'm just going to walk you quickly through how I made a 30 volt adapter for this one. It's pretty easy, so let's go. If you're not interested in that, or if you want to buy just a cheap one from Temu, then feel free to jump ahead to the ending. I'm just gonna give you a summary and we'll tell you if it was worth it, now that we've had it for about 2 weeks testing. So you can buy those DC plugs from any electronic store. I bought mine from J-Car. That's the same plug, a 2.1 millimeter plug that goes into the Starlink, so that plugs directly into here instead of the original one. You can buy also sockets for that. So that's a plug and that's a socket, and that way you can just make up any adapter you want, really. You can put a 12 volt cigarette lighter adapter on here, or you can put these directly onto your RV batteries, or whatever. That is actually a big advantage over the previous dish, because that used some proprietary plugs and you couldn't easily exchange them. Now if you wanted to use the cable that comes with a Starlink Mini, you can get yourself a cheap boost converter. They are really cheap. You can buy them from Temu or also probably from J-Car, and those little boost converters are really easy to put together. They basically boost 12 volt up to 30 volt, and you just put them in line with those cables. I'm going to show you quickly how I've done that, because it's really easy to do, and that way you can save a lot of power and run this thing directly off your battery, and only takes a few minutes to do. So guys, this here is a boost converter. I think I bought that from an online shop here in New Zealand. And basically what it does, it's got an input and an output port here for a DC plus and minus, and it's got a little screw here where you can adjust the output voltage. So on the input ports you can just put like a 12 volt plug like that, and whatever voltage I set comes out here. So I use a multimeter to check the voltage, and I can set that basically to output 30 volt. Now I got the socket here, the DC socket, so these ones can be unscrewed. So yeah, making this adapter is really simple to do. We got ourselves a little bit of wire here. I stripped both ends, give that a little bit solder. Alright, here we go. We soldered this on. Had to take it off camera for a while because it took a little moment. The positive goes into the center and the negative is on the outside. That's our plug done. Alright, now comes the moment of truth. So we got this all wired up. Here's the output. I just put a temporary plug in there so I can measure the voltage that comes out here. So that's our output end. And now we just need to plug this into our power bank here. Make sure these don't connect so we don't get a short here. And the light comes on here. Now we just got to measure the voltage that comes out of this one, and we probably have to adjust it. So I'll turn it around here. So at the moment we got no voltage coming out. We can also see if we got the polarity right, black and red together. And we got 14 volt. If we turn it clockwise, our voltage is coming up. Hope you guys can see that. We're just going to turn now until we get 30 volt coming out of here. Alright, we got exactly 30 volt coming out of our battery now. Isn't that cool? Okay, now our adapter is done. We got the socket here on that side. We can plug our Starlink cable directly into that instead of the power adapter that came with the Starlink. The other side goes into our battery, cigarette lighter. And now we can just use the power cable that came with the Starlink Mini, and we don't have to use a different cable. If we wanted to use the Starlink Mini directly with our 12 volt battery without this little adapter that's boosting up the voltage from 12 to 30 volt, then we would also have to use a different cable, because the cable that comes with the Starlink Mini is made for 30 volt. If you send a lower voltage through this cable, like only 12 volt to the 15 meters of cable, then the resistance of the cable is too high and the voltage that actually ends up at the Starlink is too low for the Starlink to operate. So if you wanted to connect the Starlink directly to the 12 volt battery without this little power booster here, then you would have to also use a completely different cable, a much thicker cable that can handle the current without any voltage drop. We're going to test that later as well. At the moment I just don't have the right cable for that. But with this booster, the cool thing about this is we can make use of the existing 15 meter Starlink cable, and we can just plug that into any battery we want now. Into our caravan battery, into our car battery, or into my little power station here, and from there we can power the Starlink Mini from anywhere. So let's give it a try, see how much current it will draw. I'm going to plug that into my new adapter, and here we plug the other side into our Starlink Mini. Let's hope it's not going to blow up. We got a blue light coming up here. It's not easy to see, but I think blue means everything is good. Now let's have a look at the battery, what the battery is doing here. Okay, something is happening. You can see here, this is the amperage that's been drawn. 2.42 amps has been drawn out of the battery at the moment. So that's not bad. The battery itself here and this adapter, they're drawing about 0.5 amps just for the power conversion, and for the display here it's using actually less than 2 amps. But the main question is, does the internet actually work? So let's see if we can connect to the Starlink and see something. It says we are online. Speed test. Alright, the speed test is working. Now while the Starlink is working on its speed test, you can see that the amp draw goes up to 3.4 amps. So now the Starlink is not in idle anymore. The Starlink is actually doing something, is connecting to the internet, and the amperage draw goes up. Now as soon as we're done with the speed test, we got 190 download and 23 upload. The amp draw goes back down to 2.4. But my little contraption here works pretty good. because yeah, we don't have to go through the inverter. After 2 weeks of testing, I'm really impressed with the Starlink Mini. It's incredibly portable and easy to pack away. The speeds have been excellent even in overcast weather. For daily use we can't even tell the difference from our old standard dish. The power savings are huge, our battery lasts much longer now. We actually gave away our old dish because we don't need it anymore. I've tested it with both an inverter and my DIY adapter and both work great. Right now we are using the residential plan at only $79 per month instead of the $220 for the Roam plan. You have to update your service address when you move, which is a bit annoying. But in summer, when we travel more, we'll switch back to the Roam so we can just use it while driving and without changing any address. Was the upgrade worth it? Absolutely. It's a massive improvement over 4G modems for sure. The internet is probably 10 times faster and way more reliable. Even upgrading from our previous standard Starlink dish was definitely worth the $514 we paid. It's so much lighter, easier to set up and uses way less power. If you depend on internet while traveling, this is the way to go. Let me know in the comments, would you get one? Now guys, if you're still here and if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.